We have 24% state of charge and 110 amps outside. Yeah guys, it is still winter. Sun, some clouds. What else can you ask for? 110 amps outside. Woo! Charging, 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 charging. This is not charging. This is not charging batteries. This goes in the grid. Guys, welcome back to the Off-Grid Garage here in... You've seen it, right? Alright, my friends. In today's video, we want to take care of exactly this. Yeah, that's the PowerWall. Goes from here all the way to there. .8, exactly 2.9 meters of nothing. And today I want to show you what I have planned for the new PowerWall 3.0. That is actually a misleading term because this one will not be a PowerWall. We are not generating or converting any power here. This will only be, well, it will be the place where all the batteries are connected to. But let's call it PowerWall 3.0. So, 2.9 meters. Cable duct. 2 of them. Actually 4. There's another pair. So this is nice white cable duct. So 100 wide and 75 high. That's from Clipsal. Made in Austria. It is not made in Australia. Needs to be shipped half around the world from Austria to Australia. Isn't that crazy? Oh, the first cable duct is moving in. I cut it 100 mil shorter. I don't want to extend it all the way to the garage door. And I probably leave a bit of gap here as well. So like this. But no, it doesn't go on the floor. There's more. Hang on. Here. And the other one is here. Alright, that's a good start. Victron Energy Lynx Power In 1000. Right, cable duct, bus bar, circuit breaker. Ah, one thing is missing. We somehow need to connect the batteries. Okay, I think we've got everything now. So there we go, battery connector. Let me explain. So obviously we have quite a few batteries out here, which I want to connect at some stage to my solar and the PowerWall. It doesn't help if all the capacity sits out there in the garage and I cannot use it. So hence the idea of this battery and system room here with a PowerWall 3.0 and some battery connectors. So the idea is now to use these battery connectors, which I've just built with this little box, and these Amphenol connectors. If you remember far in the past, some of these Zeplos boxes, they actually came with these Amphenol connectors already. At the beginning I didn't like them because you always needed to have these matching connector to make your own cables. I found it far more convenient to have just a M8 or M6 terminal at the front, and I can use my own ring lux and everything, but this leaves all the cables exposed. Like these Orient Power Jackie batteries, yeah, they have completely exposed terminals. Yes, they come with this rubber cover situation you can put on your cables, but this is not really a solid insulation, and they're fairly easy to come off and you have exposed terminals again. Yeah, and Yishi Yang used these terminals as well, but they have some plastic covers which they just pop on. I guess that's just another solution. Yeah, and here EEL battery, they have these plastic covers as well. M8 terminal underneath, and then put these plastic covers on, so nothing to touch anymore. I never liked actually these ones here from the version 2, 3, 4, I don't know, of their battery box. These ones are very, very weak. And if you connect only one cable, you can still touch the live terminal from the other side. So I was never a fan of these ones. And here we have these Zeppler's battery boxes, and they come with these Amphenol connectors by default. Yeah, even the BMS and the battery is live. There are no live parts which I can actually touch. I have decided to go with these Amphenol connectors anyway, so they will sit straight underneath the cable duct, and through these two holes here we are feeding the two cables in. They're going in the duct, and then we will have the circuit breaker here. So this is the good old NOARK circuit breaker, the EX9MD1B, 125 amps. And down here with this dial, we can actually turn it down to 70%. At the moment it sits on 1.0, so this is 125 amps. And we can turn it down to 70% of 125 amps. So you can actually adjust these circuit breakers here to your needs. So they are rated for 500 volts DC and 25 kiloamp of breaking capacity. Obviously a two-pole connector, so it completely isolates the battery. Positive and negative are physically disconnected when you turn this one off or if it trips. And you can see here the trip position is in the middle. So when the circuit breaker trips, you have to actually turn it off before you can turn it back on again. So this one is supposed to sit above the cable duct. And then we will have another cable duct above the circuit breaker. And this is then where the bus bar sits. So this goes straight in there. So this is the whole situation basically. Battery connector here, cable duct, circuit breaker, cable duct, bus bar. Well, and obviously we don't only have one circuit breaker here, because this bus bar here not only has one battery connector, but 4 of them. So we need another. So this will be the situation then. We've got the bus bar up there, we've got 4 circuit breaker down here, and we have then 4 of these battery terminals, different locations, one over here, here, here. So a bit spread out. So I can connect 4 additional sets of batteries or even stacks of batteries to these Amphenol connectors. Yeah, and then we have to reconnect this bus bar to the battery shelf. So obviously this all goes on the wall, right? Well, and then we need to feed the cables from this bus bar all the way up the wall, across the ceiling, and then we are coming down to connect it on the back of the battery shelf. Well, and obviously there are some challenges to mount all this gear here on this plasterboard wall. So I thought we are doing a similar thing we have done here with the PowerWall and the aluminium sheets underneath. Yeah, this is basically 3mm aluminium. It sits on these steel posts a bit away from the outside garage wall. And we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these sheets. And you can see the screws here, they are basically connecting to this steel post. So this is a very sturdy and nice solution. And then you can just drill holes and tap into this aluminium. You don't need any steel posts here anymore because we've got the steel posts underneath, yeah? And I've got actually markings on the floor. You can see these black lines there. This is where the posts are. So I actually wanted to order some aluminium sheets here as well. And then we can mount all this gear onto the aluminium sheets and not directly onto the plasterboard. Yeah, and once everything is connected, we put some covers on top of these breakers. And we just leave this part basically exposed, but covering all the terminals and the rest of the breaker. So if I dial down these breakers from 125 amps to 70% of that only, it is 87.5% per battery, yeah? this times 4 is 350 amps all in total, times 52 volts, say. This is 18.2 kilowatts already at 70% of the capacity of these breakers. And I'm running the whole show now here from 5 kilowatt plus an additional 2 kilowatt if I need it. So 18.2. Who needs that much power? So, and then of course there's another challenge. As you know, we've got the Victron Smart Shunt in here. There it is, you can see it over there. That's the Smart Shunt, which basically separates our batteries from the rest of the system. Yeah, all the chargers and loads are connected to these two bus bars up here, and we can isolate them with these circuit breakers in the front. I cannot connect any additional batteries just to these bus bars here. Technically it would just work fine, but we are not measuring the energy going into these additional batteries. So we would need to connect these additional batteries at the lower side of this Smart Shunt, down there, and on the other side here for the positive as well. So all the batteries need to be on one side of the shunt and everything else is on the other side of the shunt. So you're actually measuring what is going into the batteries and out of the batteries to determine the correct state of charge. If the batteries are connected on the other side of the shunt, they're getting charged from the inverter and discharged from the load without the Smart Shunt knowing about it. And then you obviously it doesn't factor in the state of charge of these additional batteries. So everything needs to go on one side. And because the space is very limited here in the battery shelf, yeah, I probably have to take out the shunt here and move the shunt all the way on the other side of the wall here to our PowerWall 3.0. Well, and then again, we've got the opposite problem then, because we are not measuring any power going into the battery shelf anymore. We are measuring the power going into all the new batteries on this side of the wall, but not the battery shelf. So we have to connect the whole battery shelf, these 3 batteries basically, all the way across the ceiling connection as well, and connect it to this bus bar over there. So on this side of the Smart Shunt, yeah. So here you can basically see how it will look like, yeah. We will have another bigger circuit breaker, 250, 300 amps or something, just to isolate all the batteries with one go. And right underneath is the Smart Shunt from Victron, and this measures all the power going into the batteries and out again. The battery shelf is no exception, yeah. This needs to be connected on this side where all the other batteries are of the shunt. So either way, we will have a cross connection from one side to the other side. And here you can already see I have mounted these little rubber flaps here. This is just a piece of rubber, comes with these breakers. It is a separator, I would say, yeah. And they basically just slide into this slot here on these circuit breakers. And they give you a bit of separation between the positive and negative. It's not super important, but I think it looks cool. And it gives me the right distance between these two ducts. And yes, I probably mount all the circuit breakers close to each other like this, so there will be no gap in between, because they are not getting warm. Yeah, if we push 10, 15, 20 amps through each of these circuit breakers, this will be the maximum. Don't forget, we've got 4 circuit breakers here, and we've got another 3 circuit breakers there, 1 for each of the battery banks. And even these 3 are enough for my power hunger. So I've got an additional 4 batteries connected through these breakers on the other side of the room. And obviously the more batteries I connect, the lower the current per battery will get. And then we will just use these longer screws the circuit breaker comes with, and they pop in here. And they come out of the other side just like this. And then we tap the aluminium sheet with M4 this is. And this is how we will mount the circuit breakers on the wall. And once this is all done, I will make a nice clear plastic or something, like a shroud, a cover, which covers all the gaps completely, and just leave this control or operation panels of the circuit breakers exposed to the outside world. Everything else will be covered with a clear plastic or so. I'm not sure about it yet. This is roughly what I imagine at the moment. And an interesting fact with these Amphenol connectors here, yeah, these connectors, they have a different coating. See these little teeth around this circle? They are different for the red and black one. But if I just put this on top of it and push it in just a tiny bit, they already make contact between the inner metal here and the outer metal here of this pin in the middle. So if I would be really dumb, I can actually do that. And now I have reverse connected the battery to the rest of the system. Obviously this gives a big short then, and maybe these connectors will melt because the contact area is not very large. And if you do it the right way, they actually click in like this, and now you can't take them off anymore unless you push this button here on the side. And now we've got a secure connection from the batteries to the rest of the system. Nothing can be touched, nothing is exposed. These are also dust and IP 65 or 66 proofed, so they can withstand a bit of water, but obviously this is not important here for the off-grid garage and the battery and system room. There will be a lot of do-it-yourself stuff coming up on the channel, because we have to drill a lot of holes in this cable duct from the top and from the bottom as well. I have to make another 3 of these boxes here. I've ordered only one just to test it out, but I think this actually works pretty well. And over here where these 2 panels meet, this line, and this is roughly where our ceiling connection need to be. So here at the corner of this one roof panel, now if we follow this roof panel there, going all the way across, so roughly somewhere over here we will come down, and this is also where this main circuit breaker will sit, somewhere here on the wall. And then the smart shunt, bus bar, breakers and connection terminals. So this now gives me a pretty good idea how wide my aluminium sheet needs to be, because I haven't ordered anything, I even haven't got a quote or something for it. So I need to contact the aluminium warehouse with the right dimensions and ask them for a quote, and it usually takes only 2 or 3 days until they have cut my aluminium sheets as per my needs. And obviously we use the steel studs in the wall itself to mount the aluminium sheets and hold them in place. And this was one reason why I opted in for a 300 mm distance between these studs. So as always, this gives you a rough idea of what I'm planning to do here. Please leave all your comments down in the video description, as you have done in the past when we built the battery shelf. A lot of good ideas and suggestions and comments from which I can pick ideas when I think, oh yeah, that's a good idea actually. That's much better than what I was planning to do. So this is just the first concept, first idea, first time I'm putting actually all this equipment here on the floor and have a look how it looks like, how it would work together, and then we make little changes here and there as we go, as we build this PowerWall 3.0 or whatever it's called. Okay my friends, so far this video from today giving you a first look, a first overview over this new project here, building the PowerWall 3.0 or whatever you want to call it. I don't know, it's just more an energy wall than a power wall. And I'm sure I've forgotten a ton of information here about all this, but this will come as we go, as we install the circuit breakers and bus bars and connection boxes here, and making all the right decisions to put this on the wall and then connect it back to the original battery shelf. Because I definitely want to keep the original bus bars up here where all the load and solar charge controllers are connected to. And yes, I could put all these batteries here in Yixiyang or EEL or Seplos or Google Power do-it-yourself boxes as well, and get rid of the whole shelf, just keeping the top compartment with the bus bar and connection points. But for nostalgical reasons, we are not going to rip this battery shelf apart. It took us so long to build it, we learned a ton. It needs to stay as it is as far as possible. And I think I found a way to combine the battery shelf with the new batteries on the opposite side of this room. So it definitely will be an interesting project. And let's see how many kilowatt hours we have actually connected then at the end of this project. As always guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you very, very much for your overall general support. There are many ways to support the channel here. If you like this type of content, consider subscribing to the channel, hit the like button. And if you already have, thank you very, very much. Alright guys, until the next video when we do something, I don't know, we're not going to work on this battery wall now all the time. There will be lots of other stuff in between as well. As you know, I'm trying to mix up things a bit. I've got some really interesting stuff coming in, so really looking forward to show you this new equipment. Until the next time guys, you stay charged, stay safe, and thanks again for watching. See you then. Bye bye.